any theory. I mean, I'm still like just so fresh out of my again, we've been calling it the Carlos Castaneda phase, right?
Yeah, Carlos
that,
Castaneda. Yeah.
I can't with 100% certainty say any of these are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was actually being psychically attacked.
Yeah,
probably not.
I kind of doubt that.
I super doubt that. But again, I'm not so far out of that phase where I can't say.
Yeah, it's not that bizarre. There was somebody just recently, I think it was up around Mount Rainier, somebody took some LSD, some young woman, and took off all of her clothes and just had it out into the woods.
It happens.
Vanished. I mean,
it happens all the time. I mean, there's so many different drugs. I mean, in the 20s, right? So we've got all this bad heroin going around, and these drugs have existed for so long. It's a very curious, mysterious death that I have no good theories on. I honestly am, and it's real weird.
No, I don't get it either. Yeah.
None of our theories really address the cross situation,
they don't.
right?
No.
They say, well, I don't know, then maybe she went nuts and did that, right? There's no good theory for that. None of them really, truly address the fact that maybe there was a guy lurking in a
Snidely
cloak.
Whiplash and a black cloak. Yeah,
right? I mean, it's just weird.
Yeah, I really discount the guy lurking in the black cloak because if you murder somebody or somehow involved in their death, and you sort of just lurk for 2 days. For days until they find you.
That's a little weird.
Why are you gonna? Why don't you go lurk somewhere else?
I mean, I guess I generally feel like there's in my storybook version, there's something missing here, right? Where they were also she happened to have a lover on the island.
Yeah.
That's why she was there, and
you would think that would eventually somehow come
out. But it
out.
never did. So I don't have a good
who the hell knows
feeling about this.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite theory?
Well, we can make up another one. Let's say she was a drug addict and she went there to try to get away from
her dealer.
Mm-hmm. And then at some point she's going through some major, or it might be that she established a connection on the island just through sheer happenstance, and then was back in the throes of addiction. And then one day realizes that she drops her vial of laudanum or whatever it is and breaks it and realizes, oh, I'm fresh out.
Yes.
And I've got to go to London and score some more. Maybe that was what it was.
Why don't we just besmirch the name of
I know. And this is out there. It's totally out there. But then she thinks about it. She can't leave anyway because the ferry doesn't go on Sundays. And then she thinks about it and thinks, I really need to kick this crap instead of doing that. But then she later on decides, you know what? This just really sucks and I hate my life. I'm going to go out and take my clothes off and die. So maybe that's it.
That's awful.
And that's totally
out
there.
That is the happiest answer ever. Thank you, Joe, once again for giving us the happy
There is no reason to believe that, by the way. I don't want to besmirch the name of Netta Fornario. Any more theories?
No.
None whatsoever? So that's the end of the theories. If you have theories of your own, you can always send us an email at thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com. You can, of course, go to our website, which is thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. If you're looking to download our shows, of course, you probably already know how. You go to iTunes. But if you do go to iTunes to get our shows, please leave a comment and a rating. We like that, especially good ratings. We really like those.
Well, ratings are great because that's how other people find us.
Really, ratings of any kind. I don't care what you do.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have time to get to iTunes, or maybe your house is burned down or whatever, you got to get us on the fly, you can go to Stitcher and stream us directly from Stitcher. Find us on Facebook. We are on Facebook, so find us, like us, leave some comments. We like that. All right. So concludes another successful mystery solving at Thinking Sideways, the podcast.
Wait, what?
We didn't solve it exactly. We probably muddied the water.
I think we actually raised a bunch of stuff, but it happens.
Yeah. Sometimes we solve it. Well, rarely, but this time I don't think we quite did.
Either we solve it or we ruin it.
Yeah,
ruined.
We ruined it. Okay. Well, I think we debunked the lurking guy in the black cloak.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much put
by
that one
just
up.
ignoring the fact that he was
So
there.
that's our achievement
also
for the
blue
night?
lights. We just ignored the blue lights.
No, we paid attention to the blue lights.
Did we?
Yeah, we said, oh yeah, more blue lights. They're always showing up in these things. Have you noticed that? So that's it for this week, folks. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and be sure to tune in next week for another exciting unsolved mystery here at Thinking Sideways. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thinking Sideways is not brought to you by Flying Monkeys. Instead, it's supported by the generous donations of our listeners on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/thinkingsideways to learn more. And thanks.
Thinking Sideways.
I don't understand.
Does not compute.
You never know.
Insufficient data to formulate a reply.
What?
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
Hey guys, welcome to a very special spooky episode of Thinking Sideways, the podcast. Just kidding, it's not going to be spooky. Sorry.
Maybe.
It's kind of boring, actually.
I'm Devin. I'm joined by
Joe.
And
Steve.
And I'm ready to disappoint the heck out of you guys.
Oh, because this is coming out just before
Halloween. And guess what we didn't do?
Yeah, we kind of got lazy,
episode.
yeah.
Well, listen, as it is, I really don't think that we should be covering this mystery today, because technically, this mystery, on the date it comes out, will not quite be 5 years old. You're a day shy with this one.
Uh-oh.
All right. Cancel
Okay.
cancel podcast.
Yeah, okay.
We're
That's
done.
it.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.
Credits. Okay.
Just kidding. Realistically, the beginning of this mystery started more than 5 years ago.
It did.
True.
It started like August, right?
You know what? For mysteries I like, sometimes I'll fudge it.
I know. You're fudging by a day. I'll give
I
it to
am.
you.
Okay, thanks. The mystery, if you are not familiar, we're going to talk about is called Oct282011.com.
In other words, October 28th.
2011.com.
Well, everybody assumes that the OCT means October, but it could mean octal.
Yeah.
Could be like
Octopus.
Yeah, I tried to. I actually translated 282011 into octal, and I got a different number, of course, but it didn't have any meaning to it. So, damn it, I was disappointed.
Dang.
Luckily, it didn't take me more than 3 seconds.
Yeah,
so,
that's good. This is not a listener suggestion, actually. I discovered it by my own dang self.
Weird.
I know, it's crazy.
I didn't know that we were able to do that anymore.
I know. It's like freedom at last. And I do want to give a shout out to William of Williams Thing. I'm sorry, at Williams Thing. He wanted me to say his Twitter. He's a YouTuber that posted pretty much the video that you'll see about this whole mystery. And he was able to provide me with his source videos that he didn't create, but that he sampled for his video. So thanks to William. And another shout out to my cousin, who's like an all-around genius. And I spent a lot of time texting saying like, hey, can you explain this quantum thing to me real quick? And he would just like fire right back with an answer. So that was super helpful for me because we're going to talk about some quantum stuff in a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he doing that because he actually owes you money and this was his way to get out of the debt?
Yeah, he was trying and it's not working.
Oh, damn.
Coming for the legs.
Must have been a lot of typing, really.
Yeah. And then as a final thing before we jump into this, just as a little disclaimer, we're going to be talking about a website or lots of websites, which means we're going to be sitting in our studio.
Iterations of the website.
Yeah, but we're going to be looking at sites and pages and stuff. And we are going to, because we have a Steve, we're going to provide on our website PDFs of all of the stuff we're talking about. So if you're at home or at work in a lax work environment and you're able to follow along, that's great. If this is one of those mysteries like the Lake City Quiet Pills where you're just like, if I can't see it, I'm done, then maybe skip this one or put it off until later. But it's going to be kind of
till
like
you can get in front of a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The documents are huge now. There's lots of pages.
Yeah, there's like 67 in one of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just going to combine them all.
Yeah, it's a lot. Sorry, as a final disclaimer, my goal for this episode is a little different than we usually do. It's going to be like a primer for this whole mystery, right? But it's really huge and there's so much content that really needs to be looked at, to be discussed, that I'm going to encourage people to discuss with us, me, online, be it Twitter, which is probably not ideal. I think Reddit or Facebook is probably the most ideal.
Yeah, 128
Reddit
characters doesn't really work.
Yeah. So reach out to us on social media once you've listened to this episode. If it's interesting to you, take a look at the PDFs. I want this to kind of be interactive by the end of it. So Just also as a disclaimer, because that's kind of what this case needs. Okay.
It hasn't actually
Finally.
seen a lot of movement lately, hasn't?
It hasn't, no. But I think it's really interesting. I think, people on the internet just stopped caring about things after 5 years, so hopefully this will kind of pick things back
5
up.
years, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, and the Lake City Quiet Pills thing has just kind of picked up a little bit in recent weeks, so hopefully this will help that. Okay, ready?
Let's hope so.
Okay. So now, 20 minutes later, we're ready for a quick overview.
Or 5.
Yeah.
Or 5 or whatever. According to Whois, the website oct282011.com was registered through oneandone.com on August 7th, 2011. According to the same Whois, the site was updated as recently as September 28th of this year. And the domain doesn't expire until next August 2017. But the owner of this domain is utilizing what's called a domain parking service, which is, when you go to a website and it's just like a bunch of links for ads. It's just like
sadly,
a white
yes.
page with links.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a domain parking service is. So they're trying to gain revenue through like ad clicks, basically. But it also is a really good way to just like keep the domain and let it expire, but also get a little money from it. So that's what the site looks like right now. But lucky for us, the Wayback Machine exists.
Thank God.
And you will see some places that the site doesn't allow quote unquote crawlers like the Wayback Archive. But if that is the case, that's the coding's wrong, because we saw it. We saw all of it.
I had read somewhere that somebody was saying that, and then I'd also seen somebody say, well, apparently because they took the site down and they're using it as a parking, that the robot TXT file that stopped the crawlers from being able to pull it was defunct. But that doesn't make sense, because otherwise the Wayback Machine shouldn't have been able to record anything, I would think.
Well, it would make sense if they implemented it before when they decided to stop maintaining the site, but hadn't moved to the domain parking thing yet. If at that point they put the anti-crawler text in to the HTML, so that would have prevented any new things from being snapped. And then once they went to the domain parking, it went away. There are some of the sites, you may have noticed, some of them do have that text in it, because you try to view it on the Wayback Machine and it doesn't allow you to.
Yeah, you get a 404 or whatever.
Basically. So some of them do have that. It's a ghost message. It says this page exists, but it doesn't allow crawlers, so we're redirecting you to something else. But the majority of the pages that are connected to this website don't have that. We were able to see it, which is great.
Cool. Good for the Wayback Machine, too.
It
Thanks,
does.
Wayback Machine.
Yeah, for real. Also, the thing you will notice when you pull these up on the Wayback Machine is there's a lot of broken image links. But as I said, lucky for us, we have a Steve. And it
Who's
turns out
obsessive.
Steve is insane.
Were you able to actually find those images?
Almost all of them.
I found almost everything.
Yeah.
It took me all weekend, but I found almost everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to encourage you guys to really go look at the PDF. And if you don't want to do that, you can look at the site. But, you will see broken images. And the images are kind of some of the most interesting stuff in this a little bit.
There's some weird stuff.
Yeah. When it was active, oct282011.com was pretty much a huge mystery, even when it was active. There's a huge labyrinth of pages, many of which have messages hidden in the HTML code, which aren't even the weirdest part of some of the messages that are happening on this site.
When the same page would change on a regular basis.
Like daily.
It completely changed, not just a little bit.
Yeah. There's also a phone number attached to this website that was posted at one time. I haven't seen the page that it was posted on. I've just seen the phone number. And people, when they call that, say that, it rings 4 times and then somebody answers. It just gets picked up and it's breathing. And then it's like a loud beep.
The only place
which is what I got when I call it.
Oh, sorry. The only place I ever saw the phone number was actually in the HTML. That's the only place that I ever saw it listed.
Yeah. And that's the only place I ever saw it listed too. So I presume that's the only place it was, but
I saw it on Reddit.
yeah. Also that. Yeah. I should be really clear that with only one exception, any of the theories out there don't suggest that this is really a malicious website. So we're not talking like a Lake City Quiet Pills situation. We're not talking about like killing and anything like that. It's really
Quite
just
the opposite.
Yeah, it is totally the opposite. It's just kind of weird. And the person who created this website is most often referred to as Open. So we're just going to call this person Open. There's no like hint at gender pronouns or anything like that. So we're literally just going to call this person Open. So if I start saying open a lot in a sentence, it's because I'm trying to avoid gender pronouns.
It's a name.
It's a name. It's a handle.
Now,
it's a handle, if you will.
Yeah, it's a handle.
Call Open like it. That's pretty
They.
neutral. Yeah.
Yeah. Open created this website.
The one that started on August 11th, 2011.
Yeah, and it was active until about April 26th, 2015. Kind of. And the website is almost impossible to explain in broad strokes. If I were to try, I would say it's a lot about consciousness and some poor man's quantum physics and some pretty simple cipher codes.
I would say, add in there awareness and lucid dreaming.
Mm-hmm. And then you have that's it. There's the broad strokes.
And then that talks about, the new golden age for humanity and, all this stuff and forming together.
And aliens.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Okay, well, actually, the aliens
No.
aren't in there.
No.
Although I did find a related site that has aliens.
Yeah, I know you did.
There's lots of those.
One of the most odd things to me is that there's a wiki attached to the page that's dedicated to like a solving community. I'm not quite clear how this came about, if Open created this or like what.
So I have two thoughts on that. I think that either Open created it because Open put a call for questions out very early on in that HTML code by giving the email and hinting at the email address, which people figured out. And either Open was building the wiki based on things that people were writing and sending in, or possibly created a user portal side because there's a bunch of spam in this website.
Yeah.
Tons of spam, which makes me think that if they created a user portal, they didn't secure it very well.
Yeah.
Because there's just tons of, regrow your hair and that kind of weird ads in all of the stuff that's in there.
You're talking the wiki, right?
Well, there's a wiki and then there's all kinds of user comment stuff. And that's where I got the idea that it might have been a portal, which is how it was created.
With the user comment stuff, are you talking about Record?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not talking about Awakening or Record.
Okay.
I'm talking about the actual wiki, and I don't know if you remember in some of the captures I sent over, there's like weird text about, in New York, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what the hell is this? I think it's a hacked user portal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Open were the person who were running this wiki. I also wouldn't be surprised if it was someone else. Just the way it's written, it doesn't actually sound like it's Open.
It doesn't.
But because of this kind of interactive component of the website, a lot of people have speculated this is just an ARG, but we will get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
So I guess we'll start from the landing homepage when you type in oct282011.com.
And by the way, for everybody, if you haven't figured it out, it's oct is the alphabet characters and everything else is numeric.
It's oct282011.com. So I'm going to call that the homepage landing page. And I think we'll start from there. And there's two pretty distinct eras for me in this. There's like the pre-October 28th, 2011, actually in time. And then post, because things get really, really weird after. And then again, just to remind everybody, if you missed it in the beginning, we're about to talk about things that we're looking at in the studio, so we'll try really hard not to just talk to that, but it will be helpful if you have visuals, so please bear with us. Okay, guys, ready?
Okay.
All right. So if you visited the site on August 23rd, 2011, for instance, you'd be greeted by a black screen with two images at the top and the text below. If you can't have patience for this, you won't be able to for that. All but who knows?
Wow, that's not
Ta-da!
cryptic.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah. So the image links here are broken, and when you dig into the HTML code, because again, we have a Steve, you find that it was originally from a website called projectpixels.com/oct28.
that web address that's listed there, that's the source for what is being displayed on oct282011.com.
On this one.
On this one, yes.
This one time that we have this screen. So, okay, so then you're right. I'm sorry. That's my bad. So then
Sorry, I screwed you
totally
up.
tripped me up there. Sorry. So you can go to then projectpixels.com/oct28 and it's the same page.
Yeah.
And now, Steve, in the upper left-hand corner, there's a comment there. That was put there by the Wayback Machine and not by you, right?
Oh, you mean the big black bold text?
Yeah.
Yeah, that totally was. No, that was me, dude.
That was you? Okay.
I wrote all over these.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. Also in this page, before we get too far into Project Pixels, there's a hidden U.
YOU inside of brackets.
Yeah, it's usually square brackets that are used, but it's just interesting. It's there. I think it's on most of the pages, to be honest with you. I think it's hidden within most of the pages.
The hidden U? Where is the hidden U? Am I not seeing it because it's hidden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why?
Yes,
Okay.
actually.
It wasn't on this particular page that we're looking at, Joe. And it's always a situation where it's a black screen and the text for bracket U bracket is in black.
Ah,
So
okay.
that's why you don't see it until you do something like this one where we have the code view loaded and it doesn't happen to be on this one, but the word is there. Actually, Devin, if you go down, I think we can see it actually in the HTML. No, because this is the reference
sourced
page.
one.
Yeah.
This is the reference page. We'll look at that again because,
Okay.
as I said, it's in most of them. Okay, hopping over for a quick second to projectpixels.com. You may be thinking that projectpixels.com is just a website from which you can get free images
Or free pixels.
or free pixels.
No, they charge
you
for
would be
pixels.
wrong, actually. You would be dead wrong. On its first capture in October of 2005, yes, it literally was a place to buy pixels, not images, pixels. And I say that because it was literally just a gray screen that you could buy a certain number of pixels and put your ad space there.
Or logo or something.
Or logo or something. I should be clearer than that. This is 2005 and it's like pixel art. It's not, there's no pretty logo stuff. It's all neon color with a shape, like a circle.
That
on
was
it.
the graphic design of
Yeah.
the early 2000s
It
on
was.
the internet.
Very
Yeah.
large pixels, by the way. Pixels were a lot bigger in those days.
They were, actually. Then the
That's
site.
inflation right there.
The site gets a little weird. Somewhere between January 18th, 2006 and January 26th, 2006. Those are the two closest screenshots you can get in 2006.
And this is you're citing those dates based on what is available in
On
the
the
Wayback,
Wayback Machine. Yep. The site is replaced by a blog post called, quote, $1 million homepage, busted, unquote.
Da da da!
I wanted to omit this, but Steve has argued his case that this is important, and I realize now it is, because I missed a bit that he didn't miss and then didn't call me on earlier, so cool. The owner of Project Pixels claims to have had the idea for the $1 million homepage before. I should clarify. The $1 million homepage was a thing where it was just like Project Pixels, where it was just this gray screen, except for the person. It was 1 million pixels, this homepage, and they sold it a pixel per, or $1 for each pixel.
And they sold them in blocks.
And they sold them in blocks. I mean, you were required to only buy the one pixel, but they sold them in blocks.
Oh, I thought they sold them in blocks of 100.
Maybe.
I don't remember. It's been so long. I moved on from that bit.
Yeah.
How many did they actually sell?
Well, $1 million homepage sold all 1 million of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this person became a millionaire, but the owner of Project Pixels claims to have had the idea first and been selling the pixels on eBay, maybe, or had a Wikipedia page that the person who had the successful project of $1 million homepage stole the idea. I guess is
So
all
they flamed them on their
it's
blog.
it's kind of not. There's not really a great coherent stream of thought in this blog post. You should go look at it. It's really interesting. Anyway,
You call it interesting? I call it ranting.
it is ranting, yeah, but it's kind of a good insight, I guess. You should go check out $1 Million homepage. It still exists.
Oh, it does? Really?
Yeah. It's a part
you
of
still buy
history.
pixels?
You cannot, because they sold all 1 million
They all
of them. But it's really, really fun. For those of you younger listeners who have no idea what the internet used to look like, just go.
You
'cause
mean how garish
look
it used
like
to be?
this. It used to. That's literally what it used to look
Lime green
like.
and magenta, baby.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
flashing
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah. So there's our little like jaunt over to Project Pixels.
Well, but Project Pixels then changed
It did.
around the time that our website showed up.
2011. It changed to this homepage called The Human Project. It's still Pixel Project or projectpixels.com, but then it became this little landing page that said The Human Project, and it's like a little logo kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like three people looking at an easel with an abstract painting on it, and then it just says "Coming soon," and below it says Project Pixels, not owned by David Gooden, not taking your money. ... Try again.
Just can't let it go.
Can't let it go. So that's August 23rd, 2011. On October 28th.
When we're going to go through every
2011.
page.
We
We're gonna be
are.
here for days.
We're not actually going to through every page. But the next day, the homepage on October 28th, 2011.com looks totally different. Okay? So it is now a blue background, dark blue, but still blue. And there's 5 images that are linked. The links are broken. Like I said, we have a Steve, so we actually have all those. If you go out to the PDF, they're kind of posted on there. The first image is of a skeleton key with like some white pixels around it, and then there's text underneath that says, "It's not 9, don't be deceived." Cool.
And I think that's the key. I think it might have an equal sign.
Yeah, it
close
could
to
be
the
an
top
equal
of it.
sign. I think I see pixels that go down, so it's like a rectangle.
I actually swear I see text peeking above the white lines like it's blocked out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to come across this in almost every image that we talk about.
Yeah. Part of that is it's totally plausible that there was like a watermark there.
That's a good
yeah.
point.
You know, it kind of looks like there was watermark there, text, and they just like took a,
Stole it.
on Paint, MS Paint, just like crossed it out with a something.
Could be.
The next image is of a patent image.
Perhaps.
Well, it is a patent image. I mean,
Right.
I don't know if it's like a successful patent or not, but that's what they
it's
look
an
like.
illustration.
It's
It's a
an
patent
illustration,
illustration.
yeah. But I've literally no idea what it's for.
I swear I saw somewhere what that's supposed to be, but I cannot remember.
Joe, do you recognize that thing at all?
You're talking about the thing on his fingers or the thing that's on the table?
Either.
We don't know which is
Yeah.
the main point here.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think the main point is it's this weird little thing that goes around your thumb and your forefinger, and it's hinged.
To hold
right there.
something?
And apparently, I guess it's for getting a good grip on things, maybe. I don't
I have
know.
no idea. Anyway, the next image is drawn hands holding flame. The next image is this woman who's going shh, right with her finger.
And
Finger.
she's blacked out.
She's blacked out. It's in silhouette.
Backlit.
And then there's some weird like white stuff. It's like a sound wave kind of image and
sort of
stuff
where
on
her
there.
ear would be.
Yeah.
And this is not the only version of that photo that's
No.
out there.
Yeah.
That's the other weird thing.
yeah, and
You know,
then
what's interesting too about that photograph is that she is completely in silhouette, and her hands in front of her face, and actually her thumb and 3 or 4 fingers are actually somewhat lit. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so there's a lot of hand imagery in this page.
there is. And then the last one is this like really pixelated image of like a Renaissance painting. Steve claims to know what it is, but I don't.
I've seen it, and the problem is in the PDF, the version that I found originally didn't come through very well, but I found a much smaller version. It's actually cleaner. It's a painting. There's angels on the left hand and the right hand side of this little rectangular image, and what kind of looks like a crown, or maybe what did they call those hats that were kind of a steel cap with fur lined around them?
Oh hell, I don't remember. Crown.
Yeah, it was something like it looks
Yeah.
like something like that.
Yeah, not the kind of crown you think of that's open on the top. The
Right.
kind that's a dome shaped.
Either that or it's the Kecksburg UFO. One of the two.
Either
There
of
you go.
those things, yeah. And then below that, there's in black, so it's harder to see. There's that U with the parens. Do you see that, Joe?
Ah, I do see it.
And then underneath that, it says, who is CHK @ for greater than MRE. which I think is an attempt at leet speak, but it's not very.
An attempt for what?
Leet speak.
What is that?
Leet is like what like nerds and gamers use sometimes, where you substitute letters or numbers
It's
for
a
letters.
shorthand?
No, it's not a shorthand.
Okay.
It's like you use a 4 for an A
Oh,
or a 3 for an
okay.
E.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the hell
I don't
that
know what
says.
it is
Okay.
either. There's a link on here. It leads to a 403 page, which is, and then it like
Not uncommon.
it's not uncommon at all. So there you go.
And so what we're about to look at is actually their 403 page, because whoever made this site was skilled enough to have made a 403 of their own. They've also have one that I saw that attempted to get redirected to for pages that were missing that they called ghost.html, but I could never, the ghost page, I don't remember.
It's not a page. Ghost page is the one that like that the Wayback Machine is like, oh crap, I can't access this page. So that has a successful anti-crawler stuff on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just remember seeing both
Yeah.
403 and Ghost in there.
And for those of us who may not know, or those of you who may not know, you know, a 403 page is just a page that that just redirects from a dead link.
Yeah.
So
they just tell you if you come there in error and there's nothing there anymore. And
usually
bad.
it literally says like, "Oops, we can't find that link." This page does not say that.
No.
It's kind of a weird page.
I'm trying to figure out. I understand that's a guy's head in the middle there, but I'm trying to
The
figure
image?
out what's around the border there. That's kind of, especially at the bottom,
Yeah.
it's a little weird.
I think it's abstract, brother.
that
I
what it
don't
is?
think it's supposed to be anything specific.
Yeah. So it says at the top of this page, it says protecting content, and then there's some numbers, and then there's a link, and then there's this thing that you'll see at the top of pages a lot. That's a dot, and then a square bracket, and then 4 dots, and then a close square bracket. And then there's some like gibberishy stuff.
There's a lot of gibberishy
And
stuff.
then, and then it says Time Universe, but the R is red. And then there's this image that Joe was talking about that it looks like the silhouette of a man's head with like a black ink splosh behind it, maybe.
Whoever made this site loved 2 things in Photoshop. They loved the drop shadow and they loved the blur tool.
Oh, yeah.
Because this blur thing that's in this image that we were just looking at happens all the time, and everything is drop shadow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, when we get into the manuals, that's when the Photoshop skills really shine. In this 403, there's actually some text hidden in the HTML. There's a little message. And I'm not going to make a habit of reading a lot of this stuff, but I do want to just give you, if you happen to not be looking at these pages, I want you to understand the crazy. So I'm hoping that one of you 2 gentlemen will read or attempt to read this little bit of joy here so that people don't have to just listen to me talk all the time.
Okay, are we ready? Left paren, single point, dash greater than, meaning an arrow. No distinction, universe conditions, Earth beginning, that decision plus 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 that decision equals this moment, close paren. How could it ever be different, comma, from a single point expansion? Always the same outcome. Period.
I'll take the second half of this
Okay.
just because